Right, so my story of my breakdown with Spog this week, well, last week. So I'm going to share it with you. Um, so I cancelled my AA and went with AutoAid because I'd heard some good reviews and they were cheaper. Excuse me. Oh, it's early in the morning. They were cheaper. And they've been good. They've rocked up, but they use local companies rather than their own people, and whereas AA would get to me usually within the hour, yeah, these guys are getting to me 4 hours roughly, which is a real pain. And I know some places, you know, some rescues can take a lot longer than that, but yeah, 4 hours is a long time to be faffing around in a broken down car. Excuse me. Anyway, when the guy did rock up, as you'll have seen in my little vlog, if you've watched my little vlog, the first thing he did was question why I had face masks in my van, because we still use them in doctors and dentists. And he basically said, why do I still have these? COVID is gone. And I said, well, because we still are asked to use them in doctors and dentists. And he said, tell them to off. So, right, okay. And I had a laugh about that. I thought, fine, oh, he's a character, isn't he? Then he asked me to get in the van, and we had full lock this way already. I was already, my wheels pointing that way in Spog, and he was pulling up. He had his truck, his like big pickup truck on this side, and there was only one way I could go, which was that way, to reverse that way. Now I didn't have gears, so he's pushing me backwards, and he stops pushing, and I'm going that way, and he stops pushing, and he's gesticulating this to me. So I'm thinking, I don't understand why he would, but he clearly wants me to straighten up or something. So I start to go the other way because I'm full lock that way already anyway, so he can't be asking me to turn that way. And he starts shouting at me, no, 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 stop. So I stopped, and he goes, you got to go that way. I said, I was going that way. No, no, you turned the wheel. Yes, because you did this, which means turn the wheel, and I couldn't turn it any further that way, so you must have been meaning that way. Oh, so anyway, no, you need to go that way. Right, so I held it. He pushed the car back, or the van back, and then I had asked to go to a particular garage for recovery, but that garage, I had rung them in the meantime, didn't have any space for me. So I spoke to another garage, which is at equal distance, and they said they did have space. So anyway, he said, we're going here, are we? And I said, no, we're not. They haven't got space for me. So I've spoken to this other garage. So it had to be approved by the people, you know, the company. So he put all of the details in, and then we had to sit. Now, I told them I had 2 people and a puppy with me. They sent a 3-seater pickup vehicle, which was fine. And he said there wasn't enough spaces. So how are we all going to get there? And I said, well, there's 3 of us, including you and the dog. Now, I think his problem was that the dog would have to sit on Kenzie's lap in the car, and that is illegal. You know, they have to be harnessed in. So I was like, right, okay. I thought he was joking when he pointed at the dog and went, no, there's 4 of us. I thought he was joking, so I laughed. And then when it came to getting in the truck, he's saying, right, well, you know, he's going to have to go in my van on the back of the pickup bed, lay down on my bed in the camper. And I'm like, so he's prepared to break the law to lay him on the back seat of the thing, on the back of the pickup truck with the dog, than he is to sit in the front of the truck with Kenzie holding the puppy. I can only assume that's the only reason he wouldn't have him in the front. Then we got Kenzie in the back, got him on the bed of the thing, and on the flatbed of this pickup. And then we are waiting because we have to have approval from the other company. About 20 minutes goes past. Kenzie rings me from the back of the van because he'd had a bad vibe about this guy. I said, is everything okay? And I was like, yes, we're just waiting for approval. So while we're sat in the front of this van on this pickup waiting for approval, the guy said he was Romanian. I'd said the puppy was Romanian. He spoke to the puppy in Romanian, and it wagged its tail, and you know. So I said to the guy, can I ask why there are so many strays in Romania? You know, making conversation, because he asked how long I'd had the dog. And he started to say to me, it's the government. And I was like, right, okay. And then I said, what do you mean? And he said, well, we are Orthodox Christian. And I said, okay. So I'm thinking there must be some religious reason behind why you wouldn't take dogs off the street and neuter them, or that kind of stuff. Like, is it against their beliefs or something? So I said, okay, so why does that mean you don't neuter them? You know, you don't take them off the streets and neuter them? And he said, that was it. He was like, the government keep us poor in Romania. They don't want us to grow up. They don't want us to better ourselves. So they keep us poor. We pay a lot of taxes and we don't have very good wages. So that's why so many people have to come to the UK to work, because we will get paid better. And and before that, he had said working for English people is terrible. Working for the English is terrible. And I was kind of saying, oh, is it all the paperwork? Because that's how it started, with the fact that he had to approve this other garage before he could just drive it. And he was like, it's ridiculous, it's ridiculous. I said, it is a bit stupid, you know, it's common sense. You know, it's the same distance. I'm not asking you for any more fuel or anything to be spent. So, but it has to be approved. So he was saying about how awful it is to work for the English. And I said, why? You know, why? Is it just the paperwork? He went, on every aspect. I was like, right, okay. And then he was saying, people think we come here because it's nice here, because it's beautiful. It's not beautiful, it's this. And he's kind of like pointing, everything's the same. You go to Romania and you go to Italy and you go to Rome and place, you've got mountains, you've got sea, you've got, you know, we've got such beauty. And I'm like, yeah, you can't dispute that, it is beautiful. And I said, but if you go to Scotland, we've got mountains, you know, the UK as a place is beautiful in its own way. No, you know, and I was like, the countryside here is pretty. No, it's not beautiful. They don't come here because they want to, they come here because they have to, we pay better basically and pay less taxes. So so basically they don't want to be here, is what he's saying. I mean, he's speaking for all Romanians, or is he just speaking for himself? I don't know. I would like to think he's just speaking for himself. But then he started to say to me that I'm Catholic. I said, I'm not Catholic. No, you, he's going, you, the country. I went, no, the country's C of E. It's Church of England. It's not Catholic. It's Christian. You know, Protestant. And he's going, no, Catholic, you're Catholic. And I'm like, right, okay. I said, well, I'm pagan. He went, and he was basically saying our Easter was wrong. He was having his Easter. It's the true Easter. And if you don't know Jesus in your life and you don't have that higher power, then everything under you is evil, and you won't know the devil, Lucifer, when he comes to you. And I'm like, well, you know, I take people on face value, and yes, not everybody is a nice person, but I like to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. He asked me if I was racist. I said, no, don't care what religion somebody is, what race somebody is, what gender somebody is, you know, I have no, as long as somebody is a nice person, I don't really care what, anything really, doesn't come into it. And so he was saying, yes, but I wouldn't know the devil when he came to me. You know, that I could basically go on a date with somebody and think they're a nice person, go a couple of times, you know, go back to their house, and he offers me wine or drink, and that's it. You know, I either don't wake up, or I'm, you know, I'm assuming he was referring to, or I'm eaten. Well, I thought, wow, that got dark pretty quick. Now talking cannibalism, but okay, I get eaten, put in a pie. And I was like, yeah, there are bad people out there, but I don't think those bad people, I mean, and I said to him, you know, religion makes people do terrible things, you know, as in people do terrible things in the name of religion. I'm not saying that the religion makes them do it. I'm saying they do it in the name of religion. And I said, my personal religion, if you like, is that I believe in the earth, and I believe in the cycles of the earth, and the power of the earth, and that is my belief. It's not a higher power, it is science, it is, you know, it is nature. That's my belief. You know, the love and peace and power of everything, every entity within the planet. And so he said, oh, so you would be you'd be happy, two men stood in front of the van now kissing, you'd be happy? And I was like, it's not harming me, that's who they love, not a problem. Not natural, not natural. So I'm saying to him, right, okay. So he's saying, God made a man and a woman, they come together, they make children, that's how you make life. And I was like, no, I understand the science behind that. I said, but it doesn't, you love who you love. They're consenting adults, not a problem. Not natural. And at that point I was like, well, I have a sister and sister-in-law and they have a wonderful little boy. Yeah, but they didn't get him naturally. I said, well, no, he was obviously, they used a donor. But there are a lot of people out there that use donors who have natural births, you know, if you like, you know, a male and a woman that can't conceive. So why is that any different? And he was like, no, not natural. I said, he is raised with love. He is raised in a good home with two very loving parents. And, you know, there's a lot of natural births that don't have that. And he kind of then went very quiet. Basically, everything was the government. We must have been in the vehicle by the time we got to where we were going. We must have been in the vehicle for about half an hour, 40 minutes probably. We had covered all sorts. He basically told me if he wanted to blackmail me, he could tell my other half that he had seen me up to no good and that he had got photos. I said, well, you wouldn't be able to, because you'd have to actually have those photos, and I don't sleep around, and I don't, you know, I don't do anything bad that you would be able to get photos of me to show my husband. Ah, yes, but photos can lie. It's like, he was trying to think what the word was, and I told him the word was blackmail. If he wanted to do blackmail, that's the word he was looking for. Not because I was going espionage. I was trying to work out what he was talking about, because he was always talking about the government and how the government is corrupt, and how America and England, or the America and the UK governments rule Romania. And I'm like, no, your government, no. We have money, we have power because we have gas and fuel and what have you. He said, but no, you know. And at this point we still haven't got to why there are so many dogs and cats stray in Romania. We still haven't got to the reason why that is. So I brought him back onto that, like, so again, why do you have so many stray dogs? And he said, because of the government. I'm like, oh God, we've been through this. And he said, because there's no money in it, because it doesn't bring the government any money to have them neutered. And if there's no money, they want to keep their people poor. And if there's no money, they don't spend money on things that aren't going to bring them money. So I said, okay, so what you're saying is that they don't get any money out of it, but even if it makes the place a nice place to live, then they're not going to do it. I said, it can't be good having all these animals wandering around, you know, defecating everywhere and what have you. And he was like, no, but it doesn't bring them any money. Kenzie, we then dropped Kenzie off because we were driving past the house to get to this garage. And he took Kenzie out. Oh, he told us what we should be feeding the dog and what we shouldn't be feeding the dog, and that, you know, absolutely do not give him this, do not give him this, but give him this, but don't give him that. And he's telling us to make him fresh soup every day and a roll. And then Kenzie gets out of the car, and he, you know, Kenzie's holding the puppy. Kenzie doesn't know this person. It's been a very stressful day for Kenzie. He was only supposed to be out for a quick run to Tiggy Winkles to drop a peregrine falcon off that we'd rescued, and he's been out all day, and he wasn't anticipating that. And we know autism means that things that were not planned are very difficult. Being around people for too long is very difficult, and although he's enjoying the dog, his process in his day has changed because he's looking after a dog. So there's a lot of things going on for him. And he kept telling me that basically Kenzie needed to do sport, and I'm assuming it's because Kenzie's of a chunky build. And I said, no, he's really not into sport. I said, they want him to do sport because of his build. You know, he's stocky, you make a good rugby player. No, in Romania, we all do sports, and there's no incentive. The kids aren't told to do anything. This country is dangerous for kids. And basically in Romania, if you don't run when you're told to run in school, they beat you. Not a lot, but just a little bit. Like, yeah, no, you don't do that. So if Kenzie had been beaten by his PE teacher, he would be doing sports, and then he would be better. And in the end I said, he has autism. This is why he doesn't do group activities. This is why he doesn't do things where, like sports or extracurricular stuff, or go out very much because of the sport. I said, and that's why we've got a puppy, because it will encourage him to go out more. It's not autism. Autism isn't his problem. It's the government. Basically, it's the government. Everything's government. So that was what ended up being an hour by the time we'd got the van parked and everything else. That was my hour with the rescue driver, after four and a half hours of waiting for him to rock up. My brain hurt. I felt exhausted. I actually took painkillers for my head, and I was completely frazzled. I think I might be going back to the AA. When I've got my renewal, I think I'll be going back to the AA. Regardless of the money, I have never had to sit through that in all my years of having rescue. So there you go. 16 minutes of waffle from me as to why, what happened during my breakdown with my van, which hopefully you've, I don't know, got a bit of a giggle out of. I mean, I had to laugh about it, I really did. But there you go. Thanks for watching. If you want more from my life, please subscribe, press the like button, and I'll see you soon.